I've been scarred and I've been bruised. I have learned just what to do. I need to leave my past behind me. I need to look to the future. No matter what will come, no matter what I've done, I know just what to do. And that's all because of you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hello. Greetings to everybody that's seeing my face for the first time. We welcome you, we thank you. Your presence means the world to us. Whatever we did that caught your attention enough to subscribe, we hope we don't disappoint and we maintain whatever drew you in, and we make your stay in our YouTube community worthwhile, beneficial. I don't take lightly the transaction that takes place between the two of us. You use your data, you use your time. Time, I believe, could be applied to important things in your life. I feel important if you choose to spend it on me. That affirms me, that makes me want to continue, that makes me think even harder about how I can continue to honor you. You're making me excited to really grow on this platform, and you keep affirming me. Thank you for following me on Twitter. Thank you for sharing me, for mentioning me, for tagging me. I'm on a feel-good phase about YouTube in my life. It blew and really surpassed my expectations, and I know there's nothing that I did from my side that could have ensured this level of success without your involvement. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Thank you for the people that watched our previous video. I know it was a little bit heavy. We are one that are intentional about talking about difficult things. We're not going to fool around in terms of psychological injuries. People are really struggling. They're not fake struggling. They're really hurting. And we're going to go for the things that hurt them the most. I believe I have that capacity to host that, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it with you until whenever, I suppose. As you can see on the screen, we've got another one of those that aim to speak at your heart and conscientize you to the brilliant person that you are, even if stuff has subsequently happened that makes you doubt that. So this is a reminder that you're not failing at this life thing. You're really not. And I've got my guy to help me out. Hi, cutie. Tingo is here. That even if this is rainy, there's always a rainbow, and we are that rainbow. I love that name. Still in love with that name. So Tingo is here for comfort. Tingo is here for illustration as to why you may feel some type of way after this video. This is the guy that reminds us of that it was a little bit heavy on our emotions. Let's get right into it before I babble on and on, which I do sometimes. Forgive me. Why did I choose this topic specifically? Because I think we all relate to one level or another with the feeling of deviating from the normative group, that it just looks like the majority of people have attained XYZ by X amount of time, and when you benchmark and evaluate yourself, it just looks like you don't compare, because that is what comparison actually looks like. There has to be something to compare to before you can decide that you are falling beneath or you are operating above that. Society is that. It's full of averages. Females were size 5, but that's an average. People are about 1.5 meters tall. We're going with averages. So that's how you know when you are too short and when you are too tall. That's how you know you've got small feet or you've got large feet. Because there is an average somewhere. They are societally constructed, and I think that's what we forget. That they were formed, and we've got an opportunity to keep forming new ones and forming new ones and forming new ones. We've seen that this box is too tight for our generation. And the people that don't fit so nicely into the box tend to feel like there's something that I'm doing wrong. And most of them have something that they believe is evidence. People failed a module. People didn't get a car at age 25. People didn't get accepted into postgraduate studies. People still live at home. People rely on parental support to get by. People are living how humans live, but because the regular average that they're using to benchmark against says they are far behind, they feel like there's a way I should be doing life, and I'm doing it wrong. And I'm coming in with that reminder. That wrong who defined right for you? Make me understand. Because clearly there is a right and you believe you are not the right fit. And I'll identify the first things we get wrong when we start to get on that comparative trail. And one of them is underestimating process. The process is the process. It doesn't matter how ready you feel, how excited and zealous you are. The process is the process. My therapist typically likens my struggles with this to a pregnancy, that it demands what it demands out of you. It doesn't matter the fact that people can't see the baby. You are constantly tired of nurturing something that you see that has no evidence to anyone. Therefore, there's no applause for it. But you wake up every day and devote energy, mentality, nurturing, caring, looking after over something that is a concept, and nobody else can see it to applaud you that you're doing a good job. This is where it becomes most necessary to have a strong internal voice that applauds for you, because you know your reality. You know what it is you are birthing, how big it is, what it actually demands. Applause comes later, when the baby is there. Then we say the baby is cute. But the multivitamins you need to take, the adequate sleep you need to do, the water intake, the looking after your body, the exercise, all of those things are still necessary for the production of that baby. But the outside people you are comparing yourself against have living babies, but they also went through that process. And your jealousy and envy towards them having a good-looking, big, beautiful baby means you are discounting the fact that merit works. You are removing your own belief that ultimately the end of this process looks like this. So when somebody is succeeding at a rapid pace, seemingly better than you are, that should be evidence to you that this thing you're imagining is practical and doable. Not a point of envy that says they're doing it, I'm not. It's validation that, oh, this thing happens to humanity. Success does happen. I'm not imagining it. Beautiful things happen to human beings that are made from flesh and bones, just like me. Success happens to humans. And if you're human, it's going to happen to you too. And the second thing that we get wrong is isolating a negative incident that has happened in our lives, and we magnify it to then describe our whole being based on that one thing. I'm not going to dispute the fact that you failed. I mean, if your report card was written failed, I'm not going to say you didn't fail. That's one event. How dare you reduce an entire dynamic human being to a mark on a paper on one module in one semester? How did you get there? How did you get there? Then how do you continue to ride it year after year when it belonged to a particular semester in a particular year, but now it's your thing? I know there's tangible evidence of something you did not get right. I know this. That's what built the belief that you're capable of getting stuff wrong. It was anyway arrogant to believe that you're not. But I know that discovery is very unpleasant. It doesn't need to extend far beyond what it defined. It was one subject. You suck at accounting. Okay? Facts, man. You suck at accounting. So what? So what if you suck at accounting? How did you take your sucking at accounting to I suck? Where did we get the switch? You don't suck. You can evaluate something and reach an accurate conclusion about it without making it a blanket statement of your life. Are finances tight for you right now? Yes, finances. Full stop. How is now your financial distress means I'm failing? I'm not adulting right. How can I still be living Here, how can I not have a vehicle? How can I still be in debt when I'm 45? How can I? Because you're not financially in a good place. Full stop. Humans are big and dynamic, multi-storied, multi-layered. Some of those stories are bad. Some of them are good. Some of them are completely going to be mediocre. Some of them are going to be outstanding. And a full life is showing up for all of them. Your bad pages, your outstanding pages, your basic pages, your horrible pages. Check in if you did not ride a particular event far beyond what it was meant to be. Go back to labeling that box. Tighten it, close it, release it. I failed accounting. The tense is right, past tense. Its effect cannot be disputed. But when you close it, we begin to audit what then happened. And alongside those goals, you'll see you passed your other modules. And when we isolate events, we can unpack them. Why did you fail accounting? Not really wired for the numbers thing. Okay, do you want to keep on doing the numbers thing? Yes, I do. Okay, if you're not wired that way, but you still want to do it, how best do you compensate for your limitation? We throw in a tutor, we throw in this to increase the likelihood of you wanting to pass accounting because that's what you want to do. But it becomes one event, just one. And another interesting question that I would like to pose to you, what is the payoff for insisting on believing something that is untrue about you, especially when it's bad? What's the payoff? The most common payoff that I know is so you can keep on acting like a failure. Because success comes with responsibility and it's risky. You have to go seek it and you can't guarantee its outcome. And for most people, that risk is simply too high. It's just better to believe, I'm not one of those. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. You're bigger than one story. Why are you riding that specific one? What about the alternative stories? You failed, but you're beautiful. You're creative. You've got fulfilling interpersonal relationships. You're kind. You're generous. You're talented. You are loved. You are nurtured and supported. You create. All of those things are true. And you failed. That also did happen. Why did you single out that one over all of these ones? They're all true. And another common thing that I'd like to mention is surrendering to the process is not failing. Accepting limitation is not failing. It's growing up. Waking up to the fact that you don't have magic powers is growing up. So when you tailor that dream, that it's not going to take 2 years. You're not that special. The process is the process. If it takes 10 years, it's going to take 10 years for you as well. Accepting limitation is growing up. How come you're not proud of that? That I grew and became orientated to the truth and reality. And I understand no matter how much you love babies, they're not going to come in 2 months. That making R1 million takes some couple of years. That submitting 10 CVs means 1 may get me a short list. Submitting 20 maybe means 2. That I'll attend 5 interviews and get 1 call back. That is you waking up to reality. So when you kind of forfeit that initial ambition of what it was supposed to look like at 25, is not 25 dreams having failed. It's you being up to speed with how it actually works. And that means you've grown, emerged out of denial, came orientated to the facts of life, and that makes you more able to plan better, to execute more efficiently, because you're out of the denial box, and you're not applauding yourself for that. The world is already so unkind to you. They don't need you as well to not play for your own team. Surrender is not defeat. There is 2 parts to life. The autonomous part that you can influence, and the part that is completely out of your hands. And we're constantly doing the juggling. Which ones are up to me? Which ones are not? Which ones are up to me? Yes, of course, humans have got the capacity to influence life. Don't make the mistake that influence means control. You can't control life. You can influence it. So when you're finally realizing that I can't control it, it's not you failing. It's you paying surrender to the fact that it was not up to you to begin with. And that releases so much energy to start devoting to the things you can change. There is nothing that depletes your energy and leaks it by pouring it into something that's got holes underneath. And the perfection and control game has got holes underneath. If you plant energy there, it's going right out. But once you take your energy back, suddenly there's so much resource at your disposal to devote to that which actually can be influenced. You should be proud of taking your energy back. You should be excited about where you're going to plant it now. Your concept exists. Incubating is tiring. You're incubating something that is real, that is there. It's us who are going to see it after its process, but you, its vision bearer, you see it before and you can labor for it tirelessly, repeatedly, as often as it demands. We don't know your baby and your pregnancy. But how dare you? How dare you drop it when it's yours? And this ambivalence about your capacity will make you feel like a fraud. It will make you feel like there's a discrepancy to what the world says about you and what you really are, because you yourself don't believe it. So every time there's inconsistent feedback, you think, I'm not as great as people think. When they eventually figure out that I'm not as brilliant, they're not going to like me anymore. Because you don't have true conviction that what you're nursing is brilliant. You're not failing. It's the process. And the process isn't going to change for you. You're not failing. It's accepting limitation of how far your power extends and where it ends. You're not failing. You failed at one thing. And you can remedy it. Please invest in having a bigger description for your life. Because if you define it thinly and define yourself thinly, you're at risk that the outcomes of your life will also be thin. You're multi-storied. And you can live those realities, all of them. And they're not going to be equal in brilliance. And when you reach the mediocre chapters, it's not failing. You're not failing. You're not failing. Tingo say you're not failing. You're not failing. You're not failing. You're not failing. In fact, round of applause for people that don't fail. Come on. I'm trying to cheer you up. I hope that works. Thank you, and I'll see you next Tuesday.